Hey, back with the same t-shirt again. It's almost like I recorded all these videos in one day. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? If you hadn't seen already, I just did my top 5 games of the year. Now it's time for my top 5 films of the year, and there are a few. This was once again a hard list to put together, but at the end of the day, I've got it. Let's get into it.
Not everyone is a star, Freddie.
What are you afraid of?
You can't get anywhere pretending to be someone you're not.
But you regret it.
No one will play Queen.
Now, Bohemian Rhapsody was a really good film in its own right. I don't consider myself a huge fan, but I'm definitely a fan of Queen and their music. Bohemian Rhapsody is one of my favourite songs of all time. So I was so glad that they finally did a Queen film, a biopic about none other than the great Freddie Mercury, who was played by Rami Malek. Now, the first thing about this film is Rami Malek's performance is absolutely fantastic. That wasn't Rami Malek, that was Freddie Mercury. It was just so captivating, really well done. I really believe that he sunk all that time into finding out who Freddie really was, and it just seems like he understood the character, or the character that at least that we saw in the public eye from all those Freddie Mercury interviews and footage. Like I said, it's not perfect. It's number 5 on my list because there are a few historical inaccuracies that the film sort of it takes its own liberty and it does its own thing in order to fit it into what we call a traditional film narrative. But overall, guys, I had so much fun watching this film. Think of it as a Queen greatest hits. If you're a Queen fan at all, I can't see why you'll hate this film. It's a really fun ride, and Rami Malek deserves an Oscar for his performance as Freddie Mercury.
It's an experience. Love, tragedy, joy. It's something that people will feel belongs to them.
There cannot be peace without first a great suffering. The greater the suffering, the greater the peace. The end you've always feared is coming. It's coming. And the blood will be on your hands.
Number 4 on this list, Mission Impossible Fallout. Now, very much like God of War, managing to reinvent the series so long into its existence, I can't believe this is the 6th film in the Mission Impossible franchise, and maybe the best. Tom Cruise, man, say what you want about that guy. He might be a bit of a weirdo, he might be a bit of a douchebag, but when it comes to acting, performing stunts, and giving it his all, man, he might be close to the top. Some of the stunts in this film are fucking white knuckle. You'll probably lose your breath at some point and pass out. But overall, I had so much fun watching this film. The stunt choreography, the action scenes, even the story for the most part was really engaging. I just had fun watching this film. I just had fun acknowledging that I'm still watching Mission Impossible movies, because I started watching Mission Impossible movies when I was a kid. I remember from a really young age, Tom Cruise on the train, like, what the fuck is going on? This is insanity. But this film is truly insanity. It's backed up by a really good supporting cast as well. Memorable performances by like Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, even Henry Cavill in this film is really, really good. Something I didn't really see him being as important in this film as he would be, but he was really good and really surprising. So overall, one of the better action films I've ever seen. I wouldn't know where it ranks in that list of my top action films, but definitely close to the best action film of the year. I think, in my opinion, it is. So yeah, go watch Mission Impossible Fallout if you haven't seen it already. Really, really amazing action film.
Maybe it's time to let the old ways die. Maybe it's time to let the old ways die. Takes a lot to change, man. Hell, it takes a lot to try.
Number 3 on my list is in fact A Star Is Born. Yes, even surprised me. I didn't even think this film would hit my radar, but yes, it has. Bradley Cooper is a really cool dude. Now, if you've seen this film, you'll know that the music and all that, he did sing it. he's quite talented. He directed this film as well, so if you haven't seen it anyway, basically Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga, really amazing, believable duo, a really, really tight story with some really good performances. Even Lady Gaga, if you don't consider her an actress, you probably should, because she gave a really, really good performance, a believable performance. She has an amazing voice, and she's a super talented superstar. She's fantastic. This film is really emotional, it's really believable, and at the end of the day, guys, it's one of the better films of the year. That's why it's number 3. I can't really say too much about it. It's one of those films where you might like it or you might hate it, but for those who like it, it has this quality where you just know that you're watching something that's really well put together. Some of the music scenes, some of the concert scenes are amazing. The film does a really good job at sort of describing how hard it may be, or how hard it is to be famous, and to live that life where you're constantly under scrutiny, you're under the public eye, and you're constantly being judged for your actions. It's really good, and it's a good story about redemption. It's a good story about being in the shit, being helped out, and trying to come out of this hole that you might never think you might come out of. And it's a really raw, emotional story. It packs a hell of an ending that made me tear up, and I have to commend it for the film that it is. It's a really well-made film, and yeah, my 3rd favorite film of the year.
We're far from the shallow now.
The entire time I knew him, he only ever had one goal. To wipe out half the universe. If he gets all the Infinity Stones, he can do it with the snap of his fingers. Just like that.
Tell me his name again.
Thanos.
Number 2 is, in fact, Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War, if you didn't know already. Avengers Infinity War is definitely the best Avengers film. It's close to the best Marvel film. I don't know what the best Marvel film would be. But it's fantastic. Obviously, it raises the stakes. Obviously, we know, for those of you that have seen it, you know how the ending and how maybe not controversial, but how hard it was of a pill to swallow. Thanos was a really relatable villain for some reason. Well, maybe not relatable. I'd say that he had intentions that were understandable. And obviously, fitting in that many characters to a film, it worked. Everyone was given sort of equal screen time. I was sort of satisfied with the story and the amount of screen time that each character got, and everything was tied together pretty nicely. Some really, really impressive action scenes, particularly towards the end. Some really good fight scenes, and like I said, the film just wasn't afraid to go there. And when it went there, I was okay with it, because shit was supposed to go down. This is Infinity War. It's one of the most important storylines and story arcs that Marvel has written to this date. So I think that it's well realized. I think it's fun to watch. It's colorful. Heaps of performances from huge stars, which you've seen in their own films. Everyone was really good. Everyone's as good as they were in their own films as well. So like I said, guys, it's the culmination of everything Marvel's done. This is what they wanted to do. This is what they were building towards. So I'm just glad that they've done it. I'm glad this film exists, and I'm glad it was done as well as it was. So yeah, number 2 favorite film of the year, Avengers Infinity War.
As all things should be. I hope they remember you.
Is Peter Parker. I'm pretty sure you know the rest. I saved the city, fell in love, then I saved the city again and again and again. Look, I'm a comic book, a cereal, I did a Christmas album, and a so-so popsicle. But this isn't about me. Not anymore.
SpiderMan.
Keep in mind, don't freak out. This is a personal opinion. It's a personal list. Everyone is entitled to their own favorites, but the reason why I chose this film as my number 1 favorite film of the year is because Spider-Man is number 1, my favorite Marvel superhero, and secondly, I just like the point of Spider-Man. This film really understood that. The point of Spider-Man is that anyone can wear the mask. Simple as that. The character of Peter Parker was intentionally dorky and average so people could get into his shoes. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse realizes that, and that is a smudge, that is a speck of what to expect, or what I got from the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse film, because it does so much more. It's visually amazing. The soundtrack is fantastic. Some of the dialogue, the characters are all fantastic. Each spider person has their own motivations, their own origin story, and you become attached in your own way to each character. Everyone has their moment to shine. There is so much going on into this film. There's so much going on, but it's so well balanced. You can jump on board with everything. I can agree that it's made for Spider-Man fans. There's a lot of fan service, there's a lot of jokes that you might not understand if you consider yourself a casual fan. But at the end of the day, this had everything. It had action, it had the laughs, it had the tears, it had the motivation, it was an intriguing story, it was an inspirational story. It did so much, all while being entertaining. I couldn't keep my eyes off the screen. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm a Spider-Man fan, but I couldn't deny the awesomeness of this film nonetheless. It is the best Spider-Man film in existence, and it's my favorite film of the year. This film was like watching some sort of child fantasy being lived out on the screen. It's everything I wanted and more. It's everything I didn't even know that I wanted. I felt like a little kid watching this film. I was just laughing, I was crying, I was just everywhere, but most of all, I was just having fun. This film is such a departure from what we know as Spider-Man, what we've seen Spider-Man films give us lately. And obviously we had Spider-Man Homecoming, which was a really, really, really good film. It's a really good Spider-Man film in its own right. But this one here just does more, and it works with more, and it gives you more. And I just think the payoff after all that, given it was done so well and so balanced, it was just a bigger payoff, and I just enjoyed it as my favorite film of the year. I can't deny it. I know it's still fresh in my mind, but I intentionally took a few days to think it over and to see if I was crazy or not. I don't think I'm crazy. This film is absolutely fantastic. If you haven't seen it already, go and watch it. And there it is, my favorite film of the year, guys.
That way, that way. Other way.
Do animals talk in this dimension? Because I don't want to freak them out.
Thank you so much for watching. What a year it has been in films and games. Obviously, I've been gone for 6 months. This is the batch of videos that I'm recording before the new year. So if I get it up this time, Merry Christmas, or I hope you've had a great Christmas. Have a great new year, guys. I'll be back in January, and let's hit this thing full force. Subscribe to my channel, like the video down below, and leave a comment. What are your top 5 favorite films, or what's your favorite film of the year? This is Chunky. Thanks for stopping by my world, guys. I'll see you soon.